Good evening. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. Tonight's topic, I'm going to talk about food additives, safety, and organic foods. Now, many substances are added to foods to prolong shelf and storage life and to enhance color, flavor, and texture. Now, the possible role of food additives in cancer risk is in an area of great public interest. New food additives must be cleared by the Food and Drug Administration before being allowed into the food supply, and thorough testing is done in lab animals to determine any effects on cancer as part of the process. Additives are usually present in very small quantities in food, and some are nutrients that may have beneficial effects. For example, vitamins C and E are sometimes added to food products as a preservative. Now, other compounds find their way into the food supply through agricultural use, animal farming, or food processing, even if their use is not directly intended for human consumption. Examples include growth hormones or antibiotics used in animal farming. Now, small amounts of pesticides and herbicides in plant-based foods and compounds such as BPA that enter food from packaging. Now, some of these compounds are not known to directly cause cancer, but they may influence cancer in other ways. For example, by acting as hormone-like substances in the body. Now, unintended contamination of food may also result in exposure to chemicals that are a cause of concern and may be related to cancer risk. Examples include heavy metals such as cadmium or mercury. These metals may enter the food supply if they build up the food chain, such as from fish, or they may enter through contamination or their natural presence in soil or water. Now, for many other compounds for which the effects on cancer risk are not clear, there may be other good reasons to limit exposure, but at the levels that are found in the food supply, lowering cancer risk is unlikely to be a major justification for this. Now, when it comes to food processing may also alter foods in ways that might affect cancer risk. An example is the refining of grains, which greatly lowers the amount of fiber and other compounds that may reduce cancer risk. The processing of meat by adding preservatives such as salt or sodium nitrite to prevent the growth of germs, or smoking the meat to preserve or enhance color and flavor may add compounds that might increase the potential of these foods to cause cancer. Studies have shown, or we say studies have linked, eating large amounts of processed meats with an increase of colorectal cancer. This may be due to nitrites, which may be added to many lunch meats, hams, hot dogs, and other processed meats. Some food processing, such as freezing and canning vegetables and fruits, can preserve vitamins and other components that may decrease cancer risk. Cooking or heat treating, such as when you're canning vegetables, breaks down the plant cells and may allow the helpful compounds in these foods to be more easily digested. But some of these methods may also lower the content of some heat-sensitive vitamins such as vitamin C and some B vitamins. Now, irradiation of food products is one way to limit the risk of germ contamination and food poisoning. Now, in the United States, some foods such as spices are routinely irradiated. Now, irradiated meats and other foods are also widely available because radiation is known to cause cancer. There has been concern that food irradiation may prevent a cancer risk. However, radiation does not remain in foods that have been irradiated. Now, when it comes to organic foods, concern about the effects of food additives on health, including cancer, is one reason that many people are now interested in organic foods. Organic foods are often promoted as an alternative to foods grown with conventional methods that use chemical pesticides and herbicides, hormones, and antibiotics. These compounds cannot be used for foods labeled as organic. Now, organic foods, as defined by the United States Department of Agriculture, also exclude genetically modified foods or foods that have been irradiated. Now, generally, when we talk about genetically modified foods or genetically engineered foods, that's where you get the term GMO from. GMO foods are like cabbage and broccoli. Now, where the foods that are organic carry a lower risk of cancer because they are less likely to be contaminated by compounds that may cause cancer, it's basically largely unknown. Now, several studies have looked at nutrient content of organic versus conventionally grown fruits or vegetables, and while some studies suggest a higher nutrient content, others suggest no difference. It is not known if the nutritional differences that have been reported would result in health benefits such as a reduced cancer risk. Now, vegetables, fruits, and whole grains should form the central part of a person's diet, regardless of whether they are conventionally or organically grown. Now, when you talk about food, this is why you should start to educate yourself and understand what goes into the foods that we eat. A lot of what you see or you think you see or you hear, it's time for you to wake up and become educated, because these foods that we're eating cause some health effects, and they also cause some mental and psychological issues as well. Because if you look at it, more and more preservatives are going into our foods. And you have to be careful when foods say organic as well, because they may not be organic. They may be filled with preservatives as well. Now, I know why they put the preservatives in the food, because if you think about it, they're trying to preserve the shelf life of food, to keep it longer. But at the end of the day, the food's not good for you. So, what I'm advising you all to do is take time to educate yourselves on the food products that you're eating. Start to understand the processes that go into food, such as irradiation, smoking your food, additives, which are preservatives that are added to your food to make it taste good, to enhance the color, the texture. Because once you understand what's in your food, you're going to make a better decision on whether to buy the food for consumption purposes or even grow your own food. Now, of course, if you live in an urban area, it's very tough to grow your own food. But I'm going to tell you something, that's going to be the way to go. Because these foods that we're eating, they're put together by science instead of conventionally growing foods. Just remember that. I mean, you heard me last night mention trisodium phosphate. Well, that's a chemical compound. Sodium, which is salt. Or sodium chloride, NaCl. That's salt. And that's what your foods are being made from. Chemicals. You look at hot dogs and lunch meat. High content of sodium in lunch meat. That's why I don't buy lunch meat. If I want a chicken sandwich, I'll make it from real chicken. And then you got to be careful of what they're pumping your chickens and your turkeys with as well. Remember something. Everything that you think is good, it's not always good. That's like the old adage, just because it's free doesn't mean it's good. So, protect yourself. Make sure you understand what you're reading on the labels. And if you don't know the answer when it comes to what's in the food, you contact the U.S. Department of Agriculture or the United States Food and Drug Administration. They will get the answers for you. And you may be able to contact a nutritionist or somebody who's in food science. But the bottom line, know what you are getting into when it comes to your food that you are purchasing, cooking, and consuming. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show for this evening, Saturday, June 3rd, 2017. You can tune in to the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. We had a good show today. Talked about delusion and paranoia. Also had an open mic section. Now, next week's show, I'm going to talk about how simping has destroyed masculinity in favor of hypergamy. Look out for that show. If you want to get in, the guest call-in number is 215-383-5785. And 2 weeks from now, I'm going to talk about black men have to have standards to define their worth. That's coming up 2 weeks from today. And that's going to be a Father's Day weekend show. Again, you don't want to miss that show. So the guest call-in number, give it to you again. It's 215-383-5785. And if you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, on this channel, I don't get into debating, controversial issues, or emotional issues, nor do I participate in drama and unnecessary bickering. Why? Because it's counterproductive. This channel that I created is for educational purposes only. I'm giving you the information that I research, and I'm utilizing my own personal experiences because the real world is a very tough place to live, and if you're not educated, you're going to struggle. And what I'm giving to you is tools that are realistic and positive. That's right, realistic and positive, because knowledge is power. And if you have a topic, a business, or a new YouTube channel that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, we can discuss it. But before that happens, you must email me at lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave your comment in the comment section under the video. But make sure that your comments are pithy. No bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering if you wish to opine. Now that's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other. And have a wonderful and blessed night. Good night.